Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another tag video. So this is the eyeshadow tag 2024. This is a tag created by Samantha March. I think I've done this before, but she did change the questions a little bit this year, I think. So I'm really excited to do this. I like a tag video. I love eyeshadow and eyeshadow palettes, so had to do this one before the year wrapped up. And excited to get into this. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Colin. I'm a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup, and I really like sparkly indie eyeshadows and high-end and luxury makeup, and you will see both of those here today. And I tend to be pretty analytical in the content I make. I just try really hard to make thoughtful, analytical videos, and I have new content every week, so I'd really love to have you subscribe. Okay, so before I begin, if you're interested in any of the makeup I have on, it will be in the description box. I also wore this makeup for another tag video that I just filmed. It's basically my everyday makeup, but then I threw on a little bit of eyeshadow because I didn't have time for eyeshadow this morning. And then touched it up because, you know, it's after dinner. So I am excited to do this one. This one was pretty easy for me to come up with most of the answers, but some of them were a little hard for me to come up with an answer. I also did narrow it down, so for the other tag that I just did, I mentioned like sometimes 3 or 4 things per question. This I definitely narrowed down to 1 per question. So the first question is, what is the newest palette in your collection? And that is this YSL quad. So this is the mini clutch in Overbrune. It might have been the Unearthly Cosmetics Sorceress Smoke, because I bought that on Halloween, and it finally came end of November. But then I had a Rouge reward at Sephora, and I bought a replacement lip product that I'd emptied, and this. And I already had one of these quads, and one of the more cool tone ones, 100 Stora Dolls. And I really love the formula, and it's kind of taupey, it's cool without being too cool. But I really wanted a brown one, and they have one that's like Casbah Spices that I was gonna buy, and then they came out with these earlier this year, and I want a couple of them. There's like 2 or 3 at least other ones that I would buy. But I bought this one to start because this is like my perfect everyday colors. I've got a nice transition shade here that is like a nice golden brown for my skin tone. I've got a nice bronze shimmer here that is just so pretty. This chocolatey brown is really beautiful. There's like a bit of a purpleness to it. And it's a little more satin. Wear it all over the lid as a smoky eye or just deep in the outer corner. And then you've got a really beautiful sparkly gold champagne up here. So really happy I got this, but this is the newest thing that has come into my life. So the next question is a favorite release of 2024. So this was hard to narrow down because I have a handful of things that I really love, and I will have a favorites video soon, probably in a couple days. You will see my favorites, and I'll go through probably multiple eyeshadow palettes in that, probably my top 5 or something. But the one that I immediately thought of was Byredo Mineralscapes. This came out in March or April. They do one giant palette every year, and I love this. This is a very me palette. Love this color story. You've got some kind of warmer shades with these like clay tones right here. You've got some neutrals with this really beautiful taupe, like the taupes here. You've got cool tones, you've got blues, you've got greens. Love these kind of greens. These are my everyday kind of greens. So I love this. I love the formula. I think this is my favorite of the Byredo palette so far. Very excited to see what they do next year, but love this. Hasn't gotten enough use in the last few months just because summer. And then in the fall, I was kind of gravitating towards things more like this and the newer Natasha Denona palettes, but now that it's cooled off and gloomy outside again, I'm suddenly very inspired to grab this. So this will be getting a lot of use in the near future. I mean, also with my long declutter videos I just did, I didn't declutter the most, but part of that is decluttering and then reorganizing. So I will probably, I might do a video because a couple of people have asked of how I store and organize my makeup. Maybe that'll be a members only video, because I do have a channel membership, and I'm starting to do a video, at least one video a month for channel members only. But yeah, so I might do how I organize it there, because I'm redoing it. So I'm gonna have like my core collection of things I use all the time, and then some of the stuff that I don't use all the time, but I still want and still want to have and use periodically / for the channel. So those are going to be like slightly separate, so that I can really focus on using the stuff that I love and don't necessarily use as much as I would like. So the next question is a palette you didn't expect to love this year. And that was pretty easy, and that was the Natasha Denona I Need a Warm palette. So I think this is a stupid name. I love Natasha Denona's formula, so I didn't expect to dislike it, but I saw it. I didn't buy this when it first came out. I waited until I saw a couple friends get it, and I saw swatches on people with a similar skin tone to me, like my friend Ananda, medium olive. And as soon as I saw her use it, and Alicia Archer, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get it. But this is a really beautiful palette. I saw it and I was like, it's boring and basic. I like boring and basic, but I was like, I don't need it, it's fine, but I do really want it. I think I'll like it, but you know, I was like indifferent, like it's fine, I can probably skip this, like I've skipped some of the other ones. And then I got it and I could not put it down all fall. I haven't used it in a few weeks, so I do need to pull it out again. But since this came out through November, this was one of my most used products. I did do a video on this, but I love that it's not too warm. It's kind of like you've got warmer peach tones and then neutral browns. And this bottom row is what I've grabbed the most. I will sometimes incorporate one of the more sparkly, brighter shades up here, but these like smokier browns down here, I love. Hanker has a bit of a green to it, so does this Dynamism. And I will do like a smoky eye with these like every day if I didn't have anything else. So love this. I thought I would like it and I was intrigued by it, but I didn't think I would love it as much as I do, to be like one of my favorite Natasha Denona palettes. So the next question is favorite collab palette. So a lot of collabs came out this year, but I didn't try most of them. And I'm very proud of all the people that did them. I think Millie, Bad to the Brow, she just did one with Cleona and it looks amazing. I just don't need all of those shimmers. But I think the one that I did try a handful, and the one that I tried and I've loved the most and I've reached for the most is the Enchanted Autumn from Fantasy Cosmetica and Makeup Just for Fun. So I do get PR from Fantasy Cosmetica. I bought the first couple palettes that they launched, and then I think after when they were on their 4th palette, I reached out and said, hey, do you think I could be on the PR list? And they were like, oh yeah, of course. And I've been gotten PR from them ever since. I do have a code with them as well. And I am friends with Amanda. We talk like multiple times a week. We talk, she is so sweet. So I'm a little biased there, but I love this. I think she did a really great job. It also just screams Amanda. I think it's just really, really well done. And I've used this a lot. So this was definitely my favorite collab that came out this year. This is one that if I didn't get it, I would have bought. And there's a lot that I didn't get sent to me and I didn't buy because it was like, that's pretty good job. I don't need it. But this one I would have bought. So the next question is PR or gifted palette that you love. So a lot of my PR I love. And I end up using it a lot and really fall in love with. And that's not just this year, but across the board. But there are 2 things that came to mind for this year that were not just like standard PR and I love. So the first one that I thought of was I got some PR from What's Up Beauty. So I didn't get these when they launched. This one came out at the end of last year and this one came out a couple years ago. But the owner is a really sweet woman and has followed me on Instagram, and we talked, and she recently, this year she sent me a few things, including all 3 of their palettes and some of their brushes, and I've been using their brushes basically every day since. So I really like the color story. I really love the formula. These are sparkly indie palettes. but made in Italy. So they're just really lovely luxury feeling formulas, but having a little bit more fun and color to them, but still pretty wearable and neutral. So you can see they both have some purples and some neutrals, but different. This is the Geode palette. I really like this one because you've got some like an olive tone, a green, a yellow, and then those kind of clay tones. And then the pop of purple, and this one is clay and purple with some really beautiful green purple shimmers. These are really beautiful. I have really loved using them every time I've used them, and I just wasn't expecting the PR. Just getting that random message of like, hey, can I send you some stuff? Really made me happy and surprised me. So I had to mention those. I just got some shadow on me. And then the other one that I thought of was the Nomad Orient Express. So they were discontinuing this, and I mentioned that I never bought it because I did buy some Nomad before I got PR from them as well. And I mentioned, I was like, oh, she posted that it was going away, and I was like, oh, when is that going away? I'm gonna need to buy it before it goes away because I never got it. And she was like, oh, I'll send you one. Like, don't worry about that. Because I talked to the owner of Nomad multiple times a week as well. She's a very sweet woman. And her husband seems really nice. The two of them own it together. But really beautiful palette. It's older, but I still really love it. It's got nice neutrals. You've got some greens I really love. All four of the greens I really like. You've got a really nice pop of blue. I like neutrals with like a colorful shimmer. So color, theme, all of that really speaks to me, but also just the fact that it wasn't like a normal release from them. It was an old thing from before I got PR from them that they were like, oh yeah, let's send that to you because you never got it. So that just makes me happy. Okay. I feel. The next question is a palette that you don't love but won't declutter. And if I don't love something, I generally declutter it because I don't need to hold on to things that I don't really like. And there are things that I have decluttered this year that I do really like, but I don't use enough to warrant just holding on to and having it collect dust. But something that I'm not going to be getting rid of, even though I don't really use it, is this year's summer palette from Nomad. So this is the Florida Keys palette. And it's not that it's a bad palette. I think the colors all work well. You've got some pastels and some neons and some bright colors. But the reason this is something that I don't love is because these aren't colors that I really wear very often. I used to wear colorful makeup basically every day. So I would wear like these blue and purples mostly every day. Now I'm wearing, something like this or Natasha Denona a lot, something like that a lot. I don't wear the bright colors very often. I do wear them just, maybe once a week instead of 5 days a week. And this is very colorful, very neon, very pastel. They all worked well. I just don't gravitate towards these colors, but I'm not gonna get rid of this because I have everything from Nomad between buy-in and PR. So, and they always have a bright, colorful thing in the summer. So I find it useful to keep these for the couple times a year I might want to use it / for comparison when they come out with the new one so I can tell you if it's worth it for you. So I won't get rid of it for that. I think this is cute. I think they did a good job on this. And I think if you like these colors, it's worth it. But for me, these aren't things, I wear this. I used this, I think, for a week straight when I went to review it, and then a handful of times outside of that, but like that's really it. It's something that I had to make myself use because I just don't use these colors very often anymore. 2022 me would have all the time, but like 34-year-old me would have used it all the time. 33-year-old me, 36-year-old me, not so much. The next question is, would repurchase if lost? So there's a bunch of things that if I lost them, I would miss them and want to repurchase. I've talked about that before in my, revisiting series, or in if I could only keep 10, which will be coming soon, an update. I do that every year if I could only keep 10 palettes. But the one that I thought of, like maybe the first thing that I would get, because it's something I use a lot and is good for everyday or more would be Pat McGrath's first palette. This is the Subliminal palette, and it's tied for first place. Midnight Sun is the other one, and who knows, on a different day I might say Midnight Sun is the first one I would repurchase, or I would buy them as a bundle. But maybe because it's December and I'm in the mood for these kind of tones, I love this. This is the perfect cool tone palette, in my opinion, over anything else. You've got a really lovely taupe shade that is a nice contour cool tone taupe, and a cool brown, but they're not like gray or ashy on me or other warm, or on warm skin tones that I've seen. I've got a couple more satin shades, a brown and a purple, so you could do like something soft and everyday if you want, or just use the highlighter shade. And then you've got blue, which is blue and green are my two favorite colors. So you've got the green and the olive green and Midnight Sun, or the blue here, blue iridescent. This like shifty pink to blue here is really beautiful, and then like the pale white, pale yellow gold. I love this. One of my favorite palettes of all time, and I think because I've been in the mood to use it lately, I've used it once and need to use it some more. It's like in my mind. This would be the first thing, because I could do just the mattes all over the lid. There's a really good black in there. I could do more. I could do sparkle. I can do really bold, colorful. So like, I think this would be it. Okay, so the next question is most traveled with. So I did do some travel, and this is also kind of just in general, not just 2024. But in the last couple of years, the thing that I have traveled with the most is the Beyond Beige quad from Surratt. So this was sent to me in PR. I do have a code with Surratt. I think it's like Bones15. They're all in the description box. This is a boring little quad, but it is one of the best formulas and works so well. So I've got a nice neutral satin matte here. A little more matte than satin, but like not dry matte, because they are a Japanese slurry formula. A nice satin shimmer on the lid, a brighter shade here, and then a dark shade so you can do smoky, you can deepen the corner. This has been something I've grabbed a lot when I want to use, like there's a decent divot in these two shades. If I want to use like a sparkly shadow and I don't know what else to use it for, I'll either grab this or my Isom mattes and build the look on that, or at least Elders now that I have some more of those. And when I'm traveling, I travel pretty light. I tend to bring minimal makeup, like a couple eyeliners, the Mario liquid bronzer, concealer, my Lisa skin tint, and then every day I was wearing like a liquid shadow or just bronzer on the lid or something like this. So, and then maybe if I want a little something, I'll put these satins on, and I'll generally travel with like something sparkly if I really want it. But I'm generally there to just explore whatever city I'm in, and so I don't really put on a lot of makeup. So the next question is first palette used in 2024, and I don't actually know for sure what was the first thing I used in 2024. I didn't track that. I might this year for next year if that's on the question, but I don't know what I used like New Year's Day or right after. But the first thing that I got in PR and bought and got and used in a video was the Nomad Cosmetics New Zealand palette. This was one of the first videos I used or posted this year. And so I can say this is one of, this is smacking myself. It's been a long week. This is one of the first palettes I used this year. And so I just had to use that, or I had to mention that. But I love this. I think this is really well done. I think they did an amazing job with this. I've used this throughout the year. Especially like I'll be boring and I'll grab like the neutral shades and this shimmer, or I'll do like these bluey purples. But this is a beautiful palette. I think they did a great job with this. It's not the color story that I'm gonna grab the most from Nomad or just in general, but really well done. Really like this. Will probably rank pretty high in my Nomad ranking that's coming. But yeah, this is one of the first things I used. I don't know what was the first. The next question is a palette that sparks joy. So a lot of these spark joy. That's why I have them. I don't buy things unless they spark some joy. But the first thing that came to mind was the Cosmetics Burnt Forest palette. Love the packaging, love the colors, love the formula. This makes me so happy. So I did get this sent to me in PR from the brand. They have had some stuff come out since this that looks really beautiful, but I didn't buy it or get it sent to me. But it's just such a good palette. My best friends borrowed this and been like amazed by it, and it just makes me so happy. So you've got some really good neutral browns, inner corner, transition, deepen. You've got a black. I can do green. If you're not new here, my other favorite color. I've got a blue, so I can do like neutral with blue or green with blue. Really beautiful, special, sparkly shimmers, some really shifty shimmers, and then this starry sky shade, like the perfect smoky look. So this just makes me so happy. I would have bought this if they hadn't sent it to me, but I'm very thankful that I got this and sent to me. The ones they've come out with since have been pretty, but a little bit more monochromatic. And there's something about like this specific earthy color story that just screams me. So this was the one. Okay, so there's 2 questions left. The next one is a palette you keep for the memories. And if you watch my declutter, you will probably know what this one is. And it is the original House Labs palette. So I haven't used this in a while. I did use it in the last year just to see. And it still worked well. And I've swatched it since and it still worked fine. This was supposed to be part of a series. That's why it's Glam Room #1. She said this was like supposed to represent her early forays into makeup and she was going to keep going with that. I would like her to do that again, but with the new brand, new packaging, better formulas, all of that. But this was still really nice, but this was the first non-drugstore thing I bought. This was like $35, which, you know, obviously I didn't buy this, but this is $100 and I have other $100 quads that I bought. So like, but this 4 years ago, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm spending $30 on an eyeshadow palette. I had like a slight panic, but I was like, but it's so pretty and I love Lady Gaga. I need to get it. And I got it and I used it and I was like, I love it. I used it every day. So like 0 regrets, but breaking away from spending like $10 or $15 for something like hurt, especially because I was pretty new to makeup at the time. I have I think there's a little bit of pan visible. You can't really see it there. Like I don't see the shine of the metal, but I see the shape. Like, you know how some pans have like that little bump in the center? I can see that in here. So there's basically a pan there. There's a big divot in a bunch of these other shades. I used this so much. I think the formula still works fine. I swatched it when preparing for my declutter, and they don't make this. It's not like the best formula I've ever used now that I've tried a lot of other stuff. But I do think this was well made, a good formula. It's still a good formula and just makes me happy and makes me think of that how anxious I was to get this and how excited I was, and then just to see how far I've come. Not necessarily, well, maybe in a good way. So that's gonna be my nostalgia hold forever. Okay, so the last question is an underrated palette. So I do have a handful of palettes that I think are underrated. And I could do a whole video on underrated palettes if that is something people would be interested in. Let me know in the comments. But the first one that I thought of that is something that I really love and a lot of people really hate is the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. If you've been around before, you're not going to be surprised by this. This was kind of universally disliked. My friend Steven hated this. They nicknamed it the Zen Don't palette. They struggled with this. They hated the color story. A lot of people really struggled with this color story. I love a mix of cool and warm tones, which this has. You've got the warm browns and you've got these more red peach tones here. And then you've got these greens and then like this olive down here. I've used this so much. I've traveled with this a lot. So if you were gonna say most traveled with, historically, it would be this. Because I can do something every day with just like the browns and leave it at that, like an all matte brown. I can do something with the green here and the brown if I want. Some of these are a little more satin, like Sense is a really pretty kind of like rosy bronze. And then Yama is a duochrome, but like a really soft, subtle duochrome, so it just adds like this gold sheen to the, like an olivey gold sheen. And then I really like the cream to powder. I really like Natasha Denona's cream to powders, and so I really liked these and these blue, kind of more satin blue shades, like a light blue and a dark blue. I've loved this. I've used it again recently. Still really like it. I think some of the issues people have is they tried to mix things weirdly. Like, I don't think people pay attention to color theory enough. And I saw people trying to mix, like, trying to blend, you know, the red and the mint shade together and then being like, well, that looks weird. And I was like, well, I expect that to look weird. But, you know, even people like Steven, who I think I trust with understanding color story and color theory, just didn't like this. So I think this is underrated and I still really love it. And I will stand on my Zendo defense. Okay, so that is all of the questions. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of my answers. I'd love to know what your answers would be, especially if you don't have a channel to make a video on this. Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts and answers in the comments. It also, that one, I like to talk to people about makeup, so it always brings me joy to talk to y'all in the comments, but also like, sometimes you mention things that I wouldn't have thought of, and that makes me really happy. So let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe. It makes a big difference on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.